Have you ever been betrayed by those closest to you? Have you endured injustice so deep that hope seemed lost, yet in the end, discovered that every trial was part of a greater plan? The story of Joseph, son of Jacob, is not merely a tale of suffering and triumph. It is a divine masterpiece of providence. Before we journey through this extraordinary account, kindly like and subscribe to this channel so you never miss more timeless stories from the Word of God. Joseph was the 11th son of Jacob and the firstborn of Rachel, the wife Jacob dearly loved from his youth. Joseph distinguished himself in character and demeanor. His father adorned him with a garment unlike any other coat of many colors, a radiant symbol of his favored position. Joseph's destiny began to unfold through prophetic dreams. In one vision, his brothers' sheaves of grain bowed before his. In another, the sun, moon, and 11 stars bowed down to him. Joseph eagerly shared these dreams. But instead of admiration, his brothers' hatred grew even stronger. They could not stand the thought of him ruling over them. One fateful day, Jacob sent Joseph to check on his brothers as they tended flocks near Shechem. Seeing him approach, they conspired against him. "Here comes the dreamer," they mocked. Their first intent was murder, but Reuben, the eldest, persuaded them not to shed blood. Instead, Joseph was cast into a dry cisternento, a pit. Later, when traders passed by, Judah suggested selling him. For 20 pieces of silver, Joseph was delivered to Ishmaelite traders, who carried him into Egypt. His brothers then dipped his coat in goat's blood and tricked their father into believing Joseph was dead. Jacob mourned bitterly, thinking he would never see his beloved son again. In Egypt, Joseph was sold to Potiphar, captain of Pharaoh's guard. Though enslaved, the hand of the Lord prospered him. Potiphar entrusted him with the governance of his entire household, yet trials pursued him still. Potiphar's wife sought to seduce him. Joseph, unwavering in righteousness, refused her advances, declaring, "How then could I do this great evil and sin against God?" Angered by his rejection, she falsely accused him, and Joseph was thrown into prison. Even in prison, God's favor never left Joseph. The warden entrusted him with responsibility over the other prisoners. While there, Joseph met Pharaoh's cupbearer and baker, who both had troubling dreams. By God's wisdom, Joseph interpreted their dreams correctly. The baker would die, but the cupbearer would be restored to his position. Joseph begged the cupbearer to remember him before Pharaoh, but once restored, the man forgot about Joseph for 2 long years. Then came Pharaoh's dreams: 7 fat cows devoured by 7 thin cows, and 7 healthy heads of grain swallowed by 7 thin ones. None of Pharaoh's magicians could explain them. At last, the cupbearer remembered Joseph. Brought before Pharaoh, Joseph humbly declared, "It is not in me. God will give Pharaoh an answer of peace." He revealed that the dreams foretold 7 years of abundance followed by 7 years of devastating famine. Impressed by his wisdom, Pharaoh elevated Joseph to the highest rank under his throne, clothing him in fine linen and placing the royal signet upon his hand. Under Joseph's stewardship, Egypt stored grain in great abundance during the years of plenty. When famine spread across the nations, people came from every land to Egypt for sustenance. Among them were Joseph's own brothers, who bowed before him, unknowing that the man who governed Egypt was the very brother they had betrayed. In that moment, Joseph's youthful dreams were fulfilled. Joseph did not immediately reveal his identity. Instead, he tested his brothers' integrity, accusing them of espionage and demanding they bring Benjamin, the youngest, to Egypt. Reluctantly, they obeyed. When Joseph saw Benjamin, his heart overflowed with emotion. Yet he tested them once more by placing his silver cup in Benjamin's sack. When the brothers pleaded for Benjamin's release, Judah offered himself as a substitute. At last, Joseph saw their transformation and could restrain himself no longer. In a flood of tears, Joseph dismissed all attendants and cried, "I am Joseph. Is my father still alive?" His brothers stood in speechless terror, but Joseph, full of grace, comforted them. "Do not be distressed or angry with yourselves for selling me here, for God sent me ahead of you to preserve life. You meant evil against me, but God meant it for good." Thus, forgiveness triumphed over bitterness, and reconciliation replaced enmity. Joseph summoned his father Jacob and all their household to dwell in Egypt, in the fertile land of Goshen. There, Jacob beheld his long-lost son before his death. and Israel's family flourished. In time, Joseph lived to see his great-grandchildren, and though he eventually passed away, at the age of 110, his faith in God's promises remained unwavering. For he charged his descendants to carry his bones back to the land of Canaan. The life of Joseph reminds us that no pit is too deep, no betrayal too cruel, and no prison too dark for the hand of God to reach. What others intend for evil, God can transform into a pathway for good. His journey from the pit to the palace proves that patience, integrity, and faith will always bring us into the fulfillment of God's purpose. If you enjoyed this story and would love to hear more powerful Bible stories, don't forget to share this video with others. Subscribe to the channel and click the notification bell so you won't miss the next inspiring story. Lessons from this exciting story. 1. God's providence overrules human evil. Joseph's brothers sold him out of envy, yet God used that very betrayal to position him to save nations during famine. This teaches us that what people mean for harm, God can transform into good. Genesis 52:20. 2. Integrity is priceless. When tempted by Potiphar's wife, Joseph chose righteousness over momentary pleasure, even though it cost him his freedom. His integrity shows us that obeying God is more valuable than temporary gain. 3. Instead of seeking revenge, Joseph forgave his brothers and reconciled with them. His choice of mercy shows us the healing power of forgiveness. 4. Always acknowledge God and remain thankful, like Joseph. He always acknowledged God. 5. Joseph's years of hardship shaped his character and prepared him to handle leadership with wisdom and humility. Trials often refine us for future roles.